What is that noise? Oh, hang on. Someone's on the modem. Hello. No, I'm not getting your game. Keep sending. That's better. The hell was that all about? Sorry. It's extremely sorry. It's actually the beginning of one of the tracks. I know. Weird, right? How are you? Happy Monday. The Happy Mondays. There was a band in the 90s called the Happy Mondays. I don't know if they ever made it transatlantically, as it goes. Hello, Neil. How are you, dude? Raven Anime. Good to see you, my friend. I'm just having a look in the filters for, where are we? Yep, rock clock music, because I just realised it doesn't have my ducking. Right, ducking does that when I talk, you see. Hello. 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 Right, I think it could do better than that. And then it goes back up. You can't hear any of this at the moment, but don't worry, I can see it. It's a visible thing. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not working. Anyway, how are you? I hope you had a good weekend. I can't believe it's another week. The first week of July. Julie, 2023. For me, hello Anthony, how are you, dude? Good to see you, my friend. For that, I always kind of think of July as the beginning of the end of summer. But it really should be the middle, shouldn't it? Like June, July, August, and then September never really kind of knows whether to make its mind up or not. But you know what I mean. Geek, how are you, dude? Thanks for popping in. Always a mon plaisir, as they say. Young Phipps. How's it going, Phipps? With your little parakeet. Is that like a dollar bill or something? Like a little dollar bill hat on the parakeet? I'm sure he was well happy to have that on his bonds. It's Monday. What is it? The 3rd of July, I believe. Another giveaway, guys, so don't forget, exclamation mark win. It should be running. There's nobody in it yet, except, of course, my dear members. So make sure, if you are not a member, to get an entry in with exclamation mark win. There you go, Anthony, straight in there. That's what I like to see. You never know. You never know what you might win. It's a potpourri. It's a pick and mix. It's a dip and be happy. I can't remember what they call them in fairgrounds when you pay a buck and you put your hand in and you take something out. What do they call that? Lucky dip. That's what it is. It's a lucky dip. You never know, do you? Seb is in the house. How are you, brother? Good to see you, my friend. Dr. Spaceman. Is it your show later today, Seb? Seb is my go-to man for everything PlayStation. If he doesn't know it about the PlayStation and the PlayStation universe, it ain't worth knowing. Simple as that. I can't remember. Did somebody win it? Neil, somebody did win it, but they threw it back in the pot. So it's still there. I can't remember now why. I don't think they had a PC, is what it was. Mon plaisir, my friend. Mon plaisir. It's true, though. If you don't know, I love reading Seb's tweets when he gets it, because he just gets in with the facts and he just destroys all unthought arguments. He's much cleverer than me. Very good. So there you go. It's Monday. What have I been up to today? Not a lot, to be honest. I did get a very nice phone call earlier, because I don't know about you, but if I get a number come up, I don't know it, I'm always like, should I just let it go to voicemail? It's probably somebody trying to sell me something, or work out if the number actually exists. But I thought I'd take it anyway. And it was a very nice young lady called Hannah. And she was phoning to tell me that I'd won a prize. And it was true as well. I'd entered a competition about a week or two ago. As one does. But unfit, get them in. Living proof that you can win, ladies and gentlemen. It was 2 tickets to a flower festival. Now, don't laugh, because my wife loves all that stuff, bless her. And it was, have you seen my tweet about the PlayStation patent for a cloud gaming controller with an integrated screen projector? No, I haven't seen that at all. I'll come back to that because that's interesting. So, yes, she loves a bit of that. But it's better than that because it's being held in the grounds of Hampton Court this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Hampton Court is an amazing stately home, which I think it's still owned by the royal family. I'm not 100% sure. But it was built for one of the wives of Henry VIII. And it's a stunning place, absolutely gorgeous. So it's in a beautiful place anyway. But it gets better. I'm just checking my gain. It seems a bit low. Let me get me up a bit. There we go. It gets better because the tickets come from a thing called, I think it's called Brand USA or Visit America. Either way, it's a tourism outfit. Oh, gain got a bit high there. Let me just take it down a bit. It's a tourism outfit for the US of A, which I thought was very appropriate given tomorrow. Hello, Raymond. And they've got a huge garden exhibit at this flower festival showing kind of the different areas of the states, which I thought would be amazing. And there's a big goodie bag to be had. They're VIP tickets. So I'm guessing it gets you kind of behind the scenes passes and stuff and what have you. So I was quite excited. Anyway, the wife, Mrs. Rokk, and my youngest, young Rokk, are going to go in my stead because I put out on our little family WhatsApp that I've won tickets. And my youngest went, I'll go. I was like, well, I was kind of thinking of going myself, but I thought, oh, bless her. She can go. She can go with Mrs. Rokk. Well, how cool is that? So, yeah, nice on the week of Independence Day. So that'd be good. I shall let you have some photos. I might even show you what Hampton Court looks like because it's stunning. To be honest, it's the most beautiful place. I mean, it's worth going to Hampton Court. There is, of course, the old joke, which is try not to get your Hampton Court in your zip because it could be very painful. But anyway, a bit like the Chelsea Flower Show, if you probably heard of that, certainly if you're in the UK. But this one is the Royal Horticultural Society Hampton Court Palace Garden Festival. I'm looking at it as we speak. I'm trying to find pictures of Hampton Court. But so they're off on I think Thursday or Friday to see that. I'm going to show you some photos of Hampton Court because genuinely I think it's one of the most beautiful of the royal properties in the UK. There we go, I've got it up. I'm going to take you over to little Larry, little Simple Larry. Let me find Simps. Where is he? Simple Larry, where are you, my friend? There he is. There we go, there it is. Hampton Court, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that stunning? It is. It's a simply beautiful place. And you can walk around the whole grounds. Obviously, it's not free. But I don't remember it being super expensive either. And of course, lots of history all around Henry VIII. I forget my ignorance, which of his wives, I want to say it was Anne Boleyn, but I may be wrong. But look at that, absolutely stunning. So yeah, in the gardens of Hampton Court is the Flower Festival. Why are you showing pictures of my house, says Sam. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But you know what? I often think this. If I suddenly found myself winning the lottery, a modest 50 million would be enough for me, I think. I often think to myself, I wouldn't want to live in a big house, truthfully. Just the two of us rattling around. I wouldn't want that. You know what I'm saying? I'd like a lovely little cottage, maybe with a vista through the windows across the fields and a forest out to an ocean somewhere. And then I'd buy myself a couple of houses around the world, different places that I like to visit, like the States and somewhere in Europe and maybe Australia. Go and visit a few places that I've never been, like Thailand or the Philippines or Cambodia, that kind of a stuff. A small 3-bed is perfect for Neil. Yeah, exactly, my friend. We don't need much more than that, do we? I'd like to know, Sam, why are we showing a robot a aubergine or an eggplant and a knife? Or should I not ask? She's not sure where the middle emoji came from. Yeah, what was his name? Billy Bob... What was the Bobbit? What was the name? Ray knows what I'm talking about, Ray, don't you, mate? What was his name? Something Bobbit. And it certainly did. Oh, dear. I don't know why we don't seem to have our music in here. But that's all right. It's just you and me. I can remedy this, though. Let me see if I grab this. We can there. And grab a bit of that. There it is. Copy that one. And then go back to Simple Laz. Where is he? Here he is. Simple Laz. And paste. And then come out. There we go. Now we have it back again. You see? Easy when you know how. Anyway, that's Hampton Court. And as I say, you want to be careful never to get your Hampton Court. Hampton Court Palace. There we are. Look at it. A beautiful place. So, Sam, what this is about is won tickets today. Well, won them. The competition was a couple of weeks ago, but I won tickets to go to Hampton Court this week. VIP tickets to a flower festival. And I specifically won tickets from an American tourism company promoting the States with a huge garden that they're implanting in Hampton Court with all the different seasons of America. VIP, goodie bag, the whole thing. Yes, I'm sending Mrs. Rokk, so don't worry. I'm not going to have a showdown this week. But this is Hampton Court itself. Admire Henry's Great Hall, you see, the public dramas and private lives of Henry VIII, a not particularly nice gentleman, I hasten to add. Caseball, my good friend, we do need Campton Hort. We need Campton Hort music, you're so right. It would be along the lines of Greensleeves, Neil. That's about the only tune from that period that I can think of, played on a lyre or a harp. Do, 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 do. You know, that kind of malarkey. Discover the spectacular Baroque palace built for William III and Mary II. Yeah, I think Henry just took it over, basically, gave it to his missus. And explore Hampton Court's palace. Look at this, 60 acres of magnificent gardens. Of course, 60 acres isn't huge, but it is on the fringes of London. There you go, £26.30. Very good. And there's a fellow dressed as Henry VIII, I think. Either that or he's got a toothache. I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh, look, here's the Hampton Court Palace Garden Flower Festival. Yes! Actually, this lady on the right looks a little bit like Mrs. Rokk. Yeah, she'll be there. But the one on the left definitely doesn't look like my youngest. Not unless she's projected into the future. But, yeah, there you go. Discover a wonderful world of gardening splendour set in the grounds of the historic palace. Talks, demos, and hands-on workshops from famous faces. Ooh, Henry VIII, probably. Offering expert advice. So there you go. It's something they can't make into an AI thing, isn't it? Hampton Court. Don't get your Hampton Court. Yeah, actually, funnily enough, we were talking with Historic Royal Palaces, the people at the top of the website. My company was talking to them a couple of months ago about creating an iPad experience, because they manage Tower of London, Hampton Court, Banqueting House, where'er that be, Kensington Palace, which is also gorgeous, Kew Palace, and Hillsborough Castle. But it came to naught, sadly, but I would have enjoyed that. That would have been good. Tower of London's always worth a visit, by the way, if you're in London, with the famous ravens. Nevermore! They have the King's Crown. I was about to say the Queen then. They have the King's Crown, the Tower of London, with all of its famous jewellery. It's very gorgeous. Another place worth visiting, if you're into all of that stuff, is Windsor Palace, where the Queen used to live, Queen Elizabeth. She used to reside there. I'm not sure whether the King resides there anymore. She very much loved it, but I'm not sure he had his own place. Was it Highgrove House? And Henry VIII simulator game. Hey, that would be good, wouldn't it? I suppose, we have kind of lots of medieval bits and bobs, don't we? We don't tend to have from that sort of, this is very late, almost just past your medieval period, just before the Edwardian period, if I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think Mary, Queen of Scots, took over after the demise of Henry, followed fairly swiftly by Elizabeth I, who was, I think, one of the only surviving children of Henry by this point. Of course, she famously never married, known as the Virgin Queen, although I do believe she had suitors, and I doubt she really was a virgin when all came and went. But interesting times, very affluent times, of course, Elizabethan times. It was very much the times of buccaneers and piracy, and when slavery kicked off big time. Lots of money was made by a number of folk. Interesting times. But you're right, though, Neil. It would be great to have a game set in that kind of period, I think. Lots of debauchery. I often think to myself, they must have been very smelly people. Going right up to when I was a child in the 70s, baths, well, I don't remember ever seeing a shower in a house until quite late into the 70s, for example. And a lot of people didn't have baths even, and would bathe with a flannel in the sink. And I don't ever remember underarm deodorants or antiperspirants for sure until the late 70s. So it was a curious aroma around when I was a child of the bodily umbrages. And I often imagine what it must have been like if you go back 100 years even, and certainly back to the time of these guys, because even the royals wouldn't have bathed regularly, and your average kind of working person probably had a treat once a month. It must, exactly, Sam, like Glastonbury, exactly that. But there must have been quite a hum about the place. Let's put it this way. Like working in an onion farm, I would imagine, back in those days. And of course, hygiene generally, because what you basically had, it's quite interesting if you think about it. So in those days, you had, excuse me, the very wealthy were obviously wealthy by their huge girth, their scale, because they ate copious amounts of whatever they wanted. They exercised very little and they worked not. Whereas the working class folk in those days were usually undernourished. Malnutrition was rife, as was things like rickets and so on. So you have very small people, and size has nothing to do with evolution. We often think about the small doors in old houses, and we think about people have got steadily bigger over the years. It's nothing to do with evolution. It's all to do with nutrition. So as they were malnourished, if you go back and look at populations around the world, out in the jungles and various places where they ate plentiful, nutritious food, they were very often reasonable heights. There are skeletons uncovered of 6 foot plus people all over the world, 7 foot people even. So, but today things have reversed. It seems now that affluent people are the fit ones, spending their time running the roads, eating healthy foods and going to the gym, and more impoverished people are bigger, eating, because food at that level now is very cheap and plentiful, but it is not nutritious. So it's weird how you think it's flipped on its head, sadly. Sorry, Seb, although I wouldn't want to live like that, as I can't stand a day without showering. No, me too. But over time, there's healthy... Yes, that's true. That is very true. You do. And I only, for example, I am the same as you. I shower once, twice a day. But I only wash my hair once a week, funnily enough. And I don't have greasy hair. It's a very healthy head of hair. I don't have I've never had any hair issues, like dandruff and stuff. My hair's in a great state, and I put it down to the fact that I don't do that daily hair wash that a lot of ladies like to do. A bit similar to your gut bacteria that gets healthier with better life habits. Body odor was negated by that. Be interesting, wouldn't it? I certainly remember there was a lot of body odor around in the 70s, Seb, before antiperspirants and deodorants became a big thing. But you didn't notice it. I mean, it was just, they're just the natural smells. And I'm not suggesting they were really strong, oniony smells. Nothing like that at all. I mean, they were just musky, natural smells. Actually, the smells that we have evolved to, attract the opposite gender as it goes. But yeah, interesting times, of course, as well. When I was a kid, and we're only talking 107 years ago, you'd go to the theatre or the cinema, and it would be absolutely thick with cigarette and cigar smoke because it was perfectly legal. And at half time, they would stop the film. The movie would stop halfway through for a break, and a lady, or a gent, but mainly a lady, would come up and down the stairs with their concession tray with cigarettes as well as ice creams and things. You'll have a packet of Camel there, love. Oh, shit, lovely. And you didn't think anything of it. I come from a smoking family. I've never smoked in my life, not even drawn a puff. Never interested me at all. But my dear old mum, who now vapes for England, used to smoke 40 to 60 a day. So I grew up very much a second-hand smoker. So you kind of just grow up with it, you don't kind of think about it. But yeah, it was everywhere, anywhere and everywhere you went. At different times, and this is just within a generation or two. It's always fascinating. It's that stuff about history that I love. I'd have some ash on my ice cream. Yeah, you used to get that kind of going on. Somebody tapping their ciggy over the top of you as they went back to their seat. Animals don't regularly wash. No, indeed, they don't like to wash. Of course, most of the time, animals will wash themselves, or they'll have friendly parasites that clean them of other not-so-friendly parasites. But it's fascinating, isn't it? That kind of history is what I love. Not the kings and queens of England and the battles and all that stuff. I love the social history, how people lived. We've said before about how they would get up at the break of dawn and walk 20 miles to work. Of course, work in and of itself is a fairly modern concept if you think about it. Up until Roman times, I guess, maybe, you would by and large be a farmer. You may trade. You may trade your services, pot makers and salt makers and such. And of course they would have employed people, but in the main you tended your own fields and so on. And if you go back a bit far before there, of course, when we were nomadic, as we all were, before the whole concept of agriculture, then we would follow the herds depending on the seasons. So we wouldn't stay in one place. We'd have our favourite campsites where we'd pull up in our RVs and pitch our teepees and then go out after the mammoth or the giant beaver. You know, there were beavers in America 12,000 years ago that were the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. I mean, they were massive things, the size of a bear. See, for me, I'd much rather have lived at the time of the nomadic peoples, because it would have, you know, they got diseases and it could be nasty, and there was definite tribalism. There was no such thing as police protection. If you were wandering down a lane and somebody decided to hurl a boulder at your head and steal your bow and arrow, they definitely were going to get away with it. But I love the simplicity of that life. You know, the whole concept of you get the food that you're going to eat, and then you eat it, and then you know, you enjoy raising a family and so on and so forth. Versus today, where we've got ourselves into a very mechanical existence, haven't we, really? Any MS announcements for GFN, etc., says Caseball. Well, they did publish a list last week. As you guys know, I was away Thursday, Friday, so I didn't get to do the cloud gaming thing, but they did publish a list of all of the games, or most of the games that are due to come out this month, July. I don't remember seeing a huge amount as per Microsoft, though, to be honest. I don't know what's going on. I still think that that's going to be very much tempered until the whole Activision Blizzard thing has been resolved one way or another. So yeah, other than that, as you guys know, I don't hear anything until usually tomorrow at the very earliest for this coming Thursday, typically Wednesday, so 24 hours before you guys do. And they're always very kind of hushy about what they say. Guys, in case you hadn't noticed, we do have the draw on. It's !win if you want to get yourselves a chance of winning a PC Steam code. And at the moment, we only have 3 entries. So why not get in there? Hey everyone, can't stay getting breakfast. Hey Christian, help you. Oh, have a lovely breakfast. What kind of a thing is a breakfast where you are? I tend to skip breakfast. But by and large, because it's intermittent fasting and there's no law that says you have to eat first minute you wake up. And in fact, historically, we would have eaten the main meal of the day, probably towards the before sunset, and we probably wouldn't have eaten again until about 10 a.m., 11 a.m. the next day. And then you would break the fast, hence breakfast. But there you go. So, Caseball is in. Well done, my friend. Oh yeah, Seb was saying about the controller with a projector. Yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? I wonder how good it would be. I know that there's like little micro pizzo, are they called? The little projectors that you can get, tiny little projectors. But yeah, imagine one of those Project Qs being able to play over data anywhere, Wi-Fi anywhere, your PlayStation games, including, of course, PlayStation Cloud games, which I'm really looking forward to them ramping up. I still think PlayStation has the best offering. The only thing that, in my mind, and you know I'm not partisan because I've got a Series X and a PlayStation, Steam accounts and everything else. But the only thing I would say is currently Microsoft nail it for day and date stuff, which of course we don't get from, well, we've had 1 or 2, but not many under PlayStation Plus. But purely in terms of the quality of games in the library, albeit they won't necessarily put their day and date, I still think PlayStation smashes it. And particularly the cloud library, I think they smash it. I think for me, it's always been that it's always been like the apex underdog, if that's such a thing. You know, the guys at the top of their game that kind of overlooked because they're not necessarily as loud about what they've got on offer. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do British people even do breakfast out? Oh, we're eating out. Don't know when I'm getting it. No, we don't. Well, we don't, do we, Neil? That's true. I would say since my lifetime, the typical breakfast in Britain is a bowl of cereal. Would you agree, Neil? Most people, bowl of cereal, and not even the good stuff, the sugary stuff. Maybe with a cup of coffee, possibly with an orange juice. But I would say, for most of the time, most of my life, that's been a bowl of cereal, breakfast done. Bang it out, job in. I've no idea where I could go to get breakfast besides McDonald's. I mean, a load of cafes do breakfasts, I guess. Depends what you're after. The old full English. When we were on the ferry last week, Thursday, going over to the Isle of Wight, you could pick up an absolutely pucker. And this would have been about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. And this guy came and sat beside me with the biggest, most delicious looking fried breakfast, a full English. Hello, Martin. How are you, buddy? It's been a minute. It has. Yeah, it has been a minute, my friend. I mean, this full English consisted of, beans that have been there for a long time, sausages that have been out for a long time. But he had the whole lot, the beans, the baked beans. He had the big chunky sausages. He had the lovely crispy bacon. He had the hash browns. He had the chips, the potatoes. And the whole plate just looked delicious. I just thought, Adam, how are you, dude? Visiting my dad at rehab in Brooklyn. Oh, wow, hope he's okay, my friend. Send him our rockiest regards. Talking of rehab. Hey, Rockmouth, how are you, dude? Guys, don't forget to get it ! Win in. We've still got 9 minutes left if you fancy entering the competition. 9 minutes if you fancy yourselves winning. PlayStation currently has a good formula for their subscription with a solid catalogue of games on PS Plus and main first-party games releasing 1-2 years. Yeah, I mean, they're not old games by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I would say a lot of the games that do come a year after, I probably wouldn't have played by then anyway, even if I had rented them. And obviously a lot of PlayStation exclusives as well. I love it. I love my PlayStation Plus. I've got PS Plus Premium. In fact, I renewed it recently for another year, I think. But the funny thing is I do tend to play less on my Xbox because although they have a good turnover of games and a couple of day and dates, the games that I really like have tended to be quite rare on the service. I'm trying to think the last game that I played all the way through. I mean, I loved Atomic Heart. Plague's Tale 2 was excellent. There have been one or two really good surprises, kind of indie games that I've loved and I've finished. I mean, at the moment, what am I circulating? So I sent Diablo 4 back, and I haven't had a replacement yet because I think I had like Final Fantasy 16 put down or something. And I've not seen anything else that I've been that worried about playing. So I haven't looked for a little bit. But why did it not log me in, swine? Let's have a look at my game list. There we go. 4 games in the list, so that they haven't changed since I sent Diablo back. So I actually I've got Aliens Dark Descent, which, and as you can see here, I've got it there for both Xbox and PS5. It's a one advantage of having both boxes. You can put both down to rent. You're only going to get one of them, but you might double your chances. Grey Hill Incident. Not sure what that is. That must have just come out. Final Fantasy 16, which by the look of it, I've got more chance of picking up than I have these two. But coming up soon, we've got Exoprimal, which looks okay. I mean, I played the demo. It was all right. I mean, don't know, if it suddenly appeared in my list and there was something better behind it, I might demote it. Immortals of Avium, that looks really good. I'm looking forward to that one, but you can see these little puppies aren't coming out for some time. Oops. Let's get that back. Oh no, I've got my 200% thing. Get out of it. Yeah. So Immortals of Avium looks really good. Vampire the Masquerade, that's for Switch. I thought I'd have a look at that, but that's not until September. And then Skull and Bones, currently forecast end of the year. Bit of a funny one putting it out the 31st of December, isn't it, Caseball? Bit of a funny old, why would you do the very last day of the year after the Christmas? Well, I suppose you've got potentially people with money after Christmas, maybe. Suicide Squad next year. And then whatever F is, I have no idea. So, yeah, that's me current thing. Currently renting nothing. So I haven't rented anything now for a few weeks. Always a bit annoying because I'm still paying for the service, but it's not their fault. There's nothing else I want to rent. So I tend to just wait for the... it always says like 6 days wait, and then bingo, it suddenly appears. So, I mean, they can only ever guesstimate it, I suppose. But under the new releases for PS5, let's have a look at this. What did... Sorry, let's go back over the chat. What are we doing on the... 4 minutes left, guys. 4 minutes left. If you want to get your exclamation mark win in. Tomorrow is Independence Day in the States, of course. Happy Independence Day. I do wish that you hadn't left us. I do. I love that. I love Hamilton and the King in Hamilton. So good. But because it is Independence Day, two things are going to happen. Firstly, none of my American friends are going to be able to join because they're going to be doing independence things. So Ray and William will be joining. I haven't heard from Wilson, so I'm assuming he won't either. That just leaves me. Now, I don't think there's much point in a rock show featuring just me, so it may be I either will organise some guests, I'll have a look at that later, or I'll just do a clog. But guests are down this week, so we'll see. It's a funny old time of the year, the summer. All my usual favourites are out doing summery things, so may or may not do. I should do a show, but it probably won't be a rock show. We'll see. Haven't made my mind up yet. So I've no idea what the Grey Hill incident is. I must have chosen it for a reason. Oh, it looks alright though. It's kind of a FPS thingy. Story-driven survival. Oh yes, I was telling you what I've been playing. So I got some codes for games. I've got 2 more yet to play because I need to stream them. But I've been playing Forever Skies, which is it's a bit like No Man's Sky in some ways, but it's a kind of survival, first-person shooter, base building kind of game. But I'm actually really enjoying it. It's very, very kind of slow-paced. And it tells you what you have to do. You've got to go and grab materials and build parts of your rocket and stuff. It's actually a dirigible balloon thing, and then fly around the Earth, actually, in the future. It's a pretty nasty version of Earth. But anyway, I've got a stream out if you want to watch it. It's on the channel. Popped it up over the weekend. That was good fun. People still playing Diablo, which is good. I will eventually play it. I'm sure it'll eventually turn up on one of the other services. I played it for a couple of weeks. It just, I don't know, it just didn't bite. I have a feeling, though, I'm going to feel the same way for although Aliens Dark Descent does actually look pretty good. It's a top-down, a bit like The Ascent, I'm assuming, sorry. And I loved, whoops, I downloaded the file. I love The Ascent, so I'm looking forward to that. I caught the end last night of Alien, which was just on local TV. I've got the box set of all of them, but I've never opened them up. I've got a Blu-ray box set of all the Alien films. I've never opened it. I've watched them all, but I've kind of just been keeping it for I don't know, posterity, I guess. But it was the very end of the film when Ripley makes it to the pod with Jones the cat. And no spoilers, but it ain't over till it's over. Do you know what? That film, excuse me, that film is what, 45 years old. It's stunning. It looks amazing. It's still to this day one of my all-time favourite movies, one of the best movies of all time, certainly one of the most inspirational science fiction movies of all time. And the direction, Ridley Scott's direction, and the acting as well, just amazing. I would go as far as to say, I actually think it transcends Star Wars in terms of quality sci-fi. Obviously, Star Wars, the legacy of Star Wars has vastly eclipsed Alien. The ongoing Alien movies in the main were pretty crap. There was one or two that were good. But I think in terms of how it broke the mold and became quite inspirational, I don't know. I tell you what, a lot of people could debate that one. That's just me, I think. I just love it. Just superb. I tell you what, I would love to watch Alien again at a theatre, at a cinema, in 4K with proper, maybe an IMAX, a really good 4K IMAX with an amazing sound system. I'd love to do that because I think that movie is just up there. You can no longer enter the draw, folks. If you failed, you ain't in. Unless you're a member, in which case you're in. Okay, so anyway, these are games that recommend for the PlayStation, but most of them are available. See, the problem Boomerang has, and is becoming more of a problem, is that the big guys are moving further and further away from putting games out on a DVD or on a disc and favouring instead digital downloads or even cloud because, of course, production costs and so on. So they are limited in, or becoming more and more limited in, the games that they can do. Yeah, that's a really good synopsis, Seb. Better sci-fi movie, a better action. And I'm not an action movie kind of guy. I couldn't give two stuffs. I go and see Bond or Mission Impossible, and at the end of it, I'm like, well, I can remember lots of gun stuff and bombs, but I don't know what the heck the story was about. But I do love. I love a really well-made, intelligent movie. I don't care if it's two guys in a room for an hour and a half. The Whale, for example. As long as it's beautifully acted, scripted, and filmed, I'm really happy. I started watching, I did not watch the whole of it, episode 3 of the latest Strange New Worlds yesterday. Still a massive Star Trek fan, more than Star Wars, I would say. And I started off and I was thinking, oh no, it's going to be another one of those cringy time traveling, and I don't know if you've been watching it, or they've for the whole of the two or three seasons, I forget now, they've had an incidental character who pops in and out, who is James Tobias Kirk, JT Kirk, James T. Kirk, as a youngish man. And well, yeah, Paramount own it, don't they, Sam? So, you know, that's the problem. Once the streaming service is fragmented, you know, it was a foregone that you're going to end up seeing Disney stuff on Disney and Paramount stuff on Paramount and so on. But you're right, though. It's painful. I mean, we have loved Outlander for, well, the whole, you know, evolution of the series, and now it's behind a paywall. It's an absolute pain in the bottom. So what we're doing is, I think they've got quite a few episodes this final season. I think it's up into double digits, 20 something. So what we will do, guessing sometime around November when they conclude, is we will pay our $5.99 for the month and watch them all in one fell swoop. Binge the heck out and then cancel the $5.99 value. I don't know what I was talking about. Yeah, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and they've had this guy playing Kirk, but he looks more like Jim Carrey. He does. He doesn't look like Jim Kirk. He looks like Jim Carrey. He even acts like Jim Carrey. And I just feel, if you're going, because the guy that plays Spock, he's actually really good, and you could definitely, maybe could do with a slightly longer face, but you could definitely imagine him as a young Spock. The girl that plays Nurse Chapel looks nothing like Nurse Chapel. The girl that plays Uhura looks nothing like Uhura, so I suppose they've got form there. But I just feel with Kirk, I didn't even think, what was his name? Was it Chris Pine who played Kirk in the movie, the most recent movies? It wasn't Pine, was it? Anyway, I didn't even think he looked much like him. But this guy looks nothing like him and acts more like... the guy that plays Kirk was a lead in the Vampire Diaries. Oh, right. Well, yeah, but I still don't think he looks like Kirk. Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? Me and my girlfriend are going to watch all of the Lord of the Rings movies. Are you watching them today? My daughter loves doing that. She loves watching them back to back. I've got the first 4. How many were there in a DVD collection? And occasionally she pops them on as well. Absolutely superb, aren't they? Chris Hemsworth played Kirk's father in the Strange Worlds. I actually think it's a brilliant series, by the way. I love the guy who plays Pike. I think he's amazing. But what's interesting is, in the new series, we're on episode 3, or episode 2, I forget, he actually only shows up for a few minutes in each episode. It's quite interesting. Whether or not he had commitments that meant he could only afford to come and do a week's worth of acting, so they just did these slots through the week and then put them into each show, I don't know. But so far, he's hardly been in it at all. Which I think is a shame, because I think he's amazing. But I would just like to see a guy that looks more like Kirk, that's all. Slightly fatter face, slightly shorter, and not sort of Jim Carrey. Anyway, it turned out to be a really good episode in the end. And the production values are really good. Time travel, when handled in a sci-fi, has to be handled really, really carefully in my book, because... you know, there's so many traps in the whole concept of time travel. But if you kill somebody, the butterfly effect, and you know what if you killed Hitler, that's all fine and dandy. But then what would happen with Mussolini and blah blah blah? It goes on and on and on. But they handled it quite well, I thought. Actually, I quite enjoyed it. They introduced a new concept to the Star Trek canon, which will be interesting to see how that develops. Again, no spoilers. I don't want to give any spoilers. But yeah, all good. All good. I'm going to take us back to Welcome, because I need to prep the wheel. As it turns out, there were only 6 of you who entered. So I'll copy that and pop it on the wheel. Let me find the entrance. There you are. Interact and pop them down. Doop. Paste it in. Give it a little shuffle and close it down. Right, I think we'll head over to the wheel. We've got 5 minutes left and see who's won today. Let me do this. Here we are. Monday, July 3rd. Right, as always, names on the left, prizes on the right. So we'll start with the names and we'll see who is going to win. As always, all members have automatic entry and multipliers depending on what tier of membership you have. So if you have the base membership, you have 2 entries. If you have the next one up, you have 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. It doesn't show them all because they're hidden behind that silver panel, so that otherwise you can't read them. It's ridiculous. Right, let me give it a shuffle. Excuse me. You can see it shuffle in there and hide. Seb says, I know that Star Trek movies were using the Dragon Ball approach, making the time travel a whole new timeline parallel. Yeah, they've done that in Strange New Worlds. They've done that in the TV series as well. Strange New Worlds and so on has that. And then they've gone another stage with the latest episode of Strange New Worlds. I mean, I get it. I understand it. It's an easy way of not upsetting the original timeline. But they don't do that in Star Wars, do they? I suppose the thing with Star Wars is because it goes across a vast timeline and includes so many planets, they can kind of get away with it. And I love what they did with The Mandalorian, for example. I think that's probably one of my... I know it's my favourite. That's my favourite Star Wars spin-off, I'd say. Shall we spin and see who's going to win? Let's do this. Off it toddles. The coffee's tasting very cold now. It's taken an hour to drink it. Here we go. It's slowing down. It's going past Reaver the Beaver. It's going past Raven Anime. Boom. Is it going to be RM? Or is it going to be Bleefloofla? It's going to be RM, I think. It is RM. R-M. And the hyphen is incredibly important. So let's see what RM is taking home today. Let me just pull the game wheel over. I'll give it a little shuffle, not that it matters a huge amount. Here we go, RM. Rokk, are you going to play Star Wars Outlaw? Oh, yes. I cannot wait for that. That looks amazing. Number 1 on Seb's radar as well. 100%, my friend. Yeah, that looks like one of the best games of next year for me. I cannot wait. That and actually Avatar looks really good as well. I think it could be a good year for Ubisoft. Right. I don't believe this. They've only gone and won Horizon Zero Dawn. Woohoo! Awesome! Of course, it isn't even just Horizon Zero Dawn. It is the Ultimate Edition. So it includes both the I think there were 2 DLCs. Includes them both. Congratulations, RM. I do have RM's Twitter account, so I will follow that up. Yeah, it was a GG. It absolutely was. But I will leave Horizon Zero Dawn on the clock. We'll leave it there, guys. I'm quite happy. It shows up quite rarely, although recently it has popped up a few times on the basis of somebody else winning. You never know. Right, it's time to wrap up, I do believe. Thank you, guys, for an amazing show. I thought it was an amazing show. Tomorrow, as I say, not sure how it's going to work tomorrow because, of course, Independence Day. And I was all set to wear my lovely July the 4th t-shirt that I purchased when I was in America a couple of years ago for July the 4th, actually. And July the 4th is also my mummy's birthday. Bless her. A very generous wheel. It is, Neil. It is a very generous wheel. Later this week, I need to decide what I am going to make the big game of July. I haven't decided yet. I haven't done one, and I haven't been promoting it to make a point, basically. My point has been made, so I'm now going to reintroduce it, to reintroduce the point. So look out for that. But yes, Star Wars Outlaws looked stunning. Absolutely stunning. As did Avatar. Slightly disappointed about Mirage. I felt it kind of, we've done the whole North African, the thing about Assassin's Creed is. We've had pirates in the Caribbean. We've had some of those little side sliding China and Japan. We've had England and Norway and Ireland with Valhalla. And we've of course had Egypt and Greece. So I kind of feel like we've done Egypt, we've done North Africa, and I'd like to see maybe much deeper into Africa, maybe East or West Africa, or maybe more into Asia or other parts of Europe. Of course, we do also have the, I forget the name of it now, the demon-looking game. I can't remember if it was next year or the year after, coming up from Ubisoft as well. But anyway, do you know what? I'm always in two minds about promoting them nowadays. Now that they snubbed me on being a Ubisoft creator, twice I asked, twice they turned me down. Star Wars looks like Red Dead Redemption mixed with Assassin's Creed. It looks stunning. And I did hear the other day, Seb, that rumours there may be a remastered version of Red Dead Redemption 2 coming up. Now, if that's true, that could be amazing. Given how amazing Red Dead Redemption 2 was anyway, it was stunning. But imagine if they boosted the textures and brought in some next-gen stuff, maybe added in some new content as well. I would pay for that. I would. I love that game, and I'd love to experience it even in a more realistic way as well. Just a rumour, but it could be a good one. Of course, we've got GTA 6, but I don't know when GTA 6 is due for release. My guess is not next year because they'd be making more noise about it. And of a whole remake of the first one as well. Wow. Maybe that was the rumour I heard though, Seb. And didn't they do a remake of it? I'm sure I played a remake of it. Don't know. I must go back and play it. I think I started playing it because Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out, and I thought, well, I'd never played the first one. I ought to kind of get my head into it, and I have a kind of feeling that I started and was enjoying it, and then RDR2 came out, and I stopped playing. So I'll probably have to go back and give it a go. Hands up, big praise from Ray. Big praise from Ray. Guys, I'm going to leave you now. And I'm going to leave you to enjoy your Monday. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good morning, afternoon or evening, depending where you are. As I've said, I'm not sure about tomorrow. Might do a guest. I might do a rock show with guests. Hello, Torrigan. Talking of guests, I wonder if Torrigan's up for a guest slot tomorrow on Rock Show. We'll do an all-English rock show while everybody in America is celebrating Independence Day. That would be could be a bit of a we'll see. Anyway, guys, love yous and leave yous. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a fantastic Independence Day tomorrow, by the way, my lovely American friends. And I will be, as always, I will be celebrating with you my mum's birthday, so I get to celebrate it every year as well. Ron, you just missed it, my dude. But good on you for trying. Great to see you. Why do you all suddenly turn up at the end of the show? It's been a real quiet one today. Iron Maiden, no way. Iron Maiden, wow. Is that Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden? I think it's Bruce Dickinson, isn't it? He's an absolute genius, that guy. He's like a pilot and a businessman and an amazing musician. He's literally if anybody deserves the term rock god, it's Bruce Dickinson. The guy is amazing. Wow. Have a cracking time at Iron Maiden, dude. I didn't even know they were still touring with that giant inflatable dude at the back and everything. Wow, wow, wow. Olympic class fencer, master. Honestly, his CV is non-human. It's inhuman. He is a bot. Take care, guys. Well, listen, enjoy the Maiden tomorrow. Oh, that's a stunning gig and a half to go to without a shadow of a doubt. I will be doing this or something like it tomorrow. I hope you could join me. And enjoy your Independence Day. I'm stalling to try and find I found it now, the button. I will see everybody in the very near future. Rock out. Take care.